This is umpire Lafondios, and this is the after-action review for the Battle of Mechili, 1941. This is part of the Divcomm World War II series. Jimmy, take it away.
Thank you, Umpire Lafondios. Let's go now to Major Reedwell with the historical run-up to the battle.
Thank you, Jimmy. On 13 to 16th of September 1940, the Italian army entered Egypt. Pushed by Mussolini, who needed a political boost with a military victory, the Italian command moved reluctantly 59 kilometers into western Egypt and tried to build a line centered on 5 fortified camps. As the Italians advanced, the British forces withdrew to Marsa Matruh. Initially conceived of as a 5-day raid, Operation Compass was the British response to the Italian incursion into Egypt. The raids turned into an armored thrust, as unprepared Italian units were quickly overwhelmed and over 30,000 Italian soldiers surrendered. Exploiting this success, the British forces pushed into Libya, seeking to drive the Italians back and bring home a much-needed victory for the British cause. The British pressed on, capturing the port city of Tobruk on the 22nd of January, 1941. The Italian Army Corps Command in Derna did not want the British to envelop it from the south. It sends a force to Mechili to block British progress there, while keeping forces defending Derna. The British, though dangerously short of fuel and at the end of an overextended supply line, want to aggressively push west on 2 avenues of advance. The stage is set for a showdown in Mechili.
Thank you, Major. Ryan, walk us through the command problems, teams, and the characteristics of the battle area.
Of course, Jimmy. The Italian forces in this period did not have tactical radios, which complicated command and control. The Italian army was shaken by the British success of Operation Compass, and they compensated by rushing new tanks to the battle zone. In some cases, crews had only had their tanks for 2 weeks. British forces had lost infantry manpower from the successive series of battles, and their vehicles were short of parts. The RAF did not believe ground support was part of their strategic mission in this stage of the war. There was no close air support for forces in the desert. Now we'll have the teams introduce themselves.
I am 20th Corps Commander and the Commander-in-Chief, General Tolera, played by James.
I am Group Babini Commander, Brigadier Babini, played by Chrono.
I'm Group Piana Commander, Brigadier Piana, played by Carol.
I am Group Bignami Commander, Brigadier Bignami, played by Ranger 9000.
I'm Lieutenant Colonel Bruno, Commander of 1st Battalion, Group Babini, played by White Hussar.
I am 2nd Battalion, Group Babini Commander Lieutenant Colonel Ricci, played by Stephen.
I am 1st Battalion, Group Piana Commander Lieutenant Colonel Gallo, played by Desert Fox.
I am 2nd Battalion, Group Piana Commander Lieutenant Colonel Rossi, played by Chief.
I am the British 7th Division Commander-in-Chief, Major General Cray, played by Hannibal.
I am the 4th Armoured Brigade Commander, Brigadier Conter, played by Anakazan.
I am the 19th Infantry Brigade Commander, Brigadier Cooper, played by Tunisgrad. I am Lieutenant Colonel Harris, Commander of 1st Battalion, 4th Armour, played by Octavius Victor.
I command 2nd Battalion, 4th Armour. I am Lieutenant Colonel Robinson, played by Hendrick.
I am Lieutenant Colonel Williams, commanding the 1st Battalion, 19th Infantry. I'm played by one whose username consists of only 7 repetitions of the letter E.
I command the 2nd Battalion, 19th Infantry. I am Lieutenant Colonel Evans, played by Tsarina Lake.
Here are the respective orders of battle. The Italians have 10 tank, 17 infantry, and 2 artillery units, while the British have 9 tank, 15 infantry, and 2 artillery units. The force ratio of basic combat power, Italian to British, is 0.89 to 1.
The British enter the battlefield with all forces on the north end of the map. The Italians with all forces to the south. The large depressions are wadis, deep cuts in the terrain that impedes armored forces. The purple circles show terrain advantageous to infantry defense. The red arrows show open areas that are best for armor. The yellow objective markers show areas that are targets to define victory. For armored forces, all routes lead to the center of the battle area. Jemmy?
Thank you, Major. Let's hear the opposing plans from the Commanders-in-Chief.
I am General Tolera, Commander of Italian Forces. This is my plan. We'll go for the straightforward approach to keep concentrated and in close communication. Babini and Bignami will sweep north, then northwest. First Babini attacks west of Mechili. Second Babini takes the city. Bignami attacks east of the city. Piana will follow up behind and help occupy the city. Babini will send their recon unit west then north both for recon and a diversion. When we make contact, we'll make good use of airstrikes and artillery. Once we occupy Mechili, we'll dig in and fend off any counterattacks.
I am General Craig, commander of British forces. This is my plan. 19th Infantry, Purple, will move along the Arrow and report to me if they encounter enemy resistance. 2nd Battalion, 4th Armor, Pink, will go through the Wadi, which I don't expect will be heavily defended. If no enemy resistance is met, we just advance to secure Mechili as fast as possible. Purple will secure our right flank, while Pink will secure Mechili. 2nd Battalion, 4th Armored Brigade, dark green, as well as 2nd Battalion of 19th Brigade, light green, will play secondary roles in supporting Purple's advance.
The stage is set. Major Reedwell, take us through the battle.
From 0900 to 1000 hours, both Italian and British forces move according to their respective plans. The Italians concentrate around Mechili, while the British split efforts, putting one armor battalion in the Wadi to the northeast, while the remaining units move south, where they encounter and push back an Italian reconnaissance unit. Italian Commander Bignami makes an aggressive move. Let's hear his orders.
Infantry on the Jebel are to defend their locations and prepare for possible operations if the British tanks attempt to push their location. A fast reaction of my tanks will move forward, swinging around both sides of the northern Jebel to engage the British armor in the Wadi, taking advantage of our on-site recce to get the British force positions and hopefully catch the British armor as it's vulnerable either inside or attempting to leave the Wadi.
The plan works. As the British come out of the Wadi, Bignami is waiting for them. The British are forced to retreat back into the Wadi. Combat in the Wadi to the north and the general engagement in the south splits the British force into two groups. The British commander-in-chief moves the guns and his headquarters to the middle, where it is vulnerable. The Italian commander of the 2nd Battalion, Babini Group, sees the vulnerable headquarters and gives orders to take advantage of the situation.
Company A tanks attack north into the enemy HQ and artillery companies. EF and D infantry mount up and assault the enemy HQ and artillery alongside Company A.
Ricci's attack eliminates the British artillery and captures the division headquarters. With the loss of the division headquarters and the guns, the British decide it is time to withdraw. Let's hear a radio exchange between the commanders of the armored and infantry brigades.
I'm of the opinion that we cannot take Mechili with current forces and must withdraw before the division is destroyed.
I agree that we need to pull out. My brigade is down to about 50% effectiveness and we're facing overwhelming enemy armour. I'll begin ordering the withdrawal back toward G5.
Rather than withdrawing in disorder, two British commanders give orders to screen the remains of the division as it withdraws. First, Evans of the 2nd Battalion, 19th Infantry.
Move A and E companies into combat, replacing Company C. Company D is to move north and link up with 4th Armored. We are to screen the withdrawal of 1st Battalion. We must commit to our finest hour. I will order my troops to screen brigade headquarters and engage the enemy. With my tanks and infantry all together, conduct a pinning attack.
The scenario ends as all British units withdraw north out of the battle area. Ryan will now walk us through the base combat power changes by hour.
Starting base combat power was 0.89 Italian to 1 British. The first significant change was at 1000 hours, where the combat in the Wadi began. British forces were damaged, and the effect is felt by 1030 as the ratio went to 1.04 to 1. At 1100 hours, the British artillery loss and additional effective Italian attacks moved the ratio to 1.27 to 1. At scenario end, the Italians ended with 1.53 to 1, which was the combined effect of them rotating units into the line and using special orders well. Now over to umpire Lafondios for lessons learned.
One important lesson in this scenario is the principle of war, concentration. The Italian plan concentrated them at Mechili, indicated on the map by the number 1. The number 2 shows how the British spread themselves out and lost concentration, first by moving their most powerful armored battalion into the Wadi, but also when the 1st Battalion of the 19th left 2 units of infantry in the western Wadi, on the map where you see the number 3. What resulted was an Italian defense, shown by the arc, indicated by the number 4, that could reinforce both sides faster than the British could adjust forces. Piana's 1st Battalion, for example, was quickly moved into the line from Mechili. That same battalion could have easily moved north to support actions there. This concentration effectively kept the British exposed and resulted in an Italian decisive victory. Let's hear a few player insights.
I am General Tolera. I was advised to keep the attack simple and consolidated. It was the right advice, and I followed it. By staying together, we overcame our greatest weakness, which was lack of communication technology. We could coordinate well with much of my staff and leaders being at my HQ for much of the time. Sometimes the simplest plan is the best, especially when communication and coordination will be an issue.
I am Brigadier Cooper. I'd say it's always important to learn when to pack it up and retreat. I had a thought to stay a few more rounds and try to break the enemy line, but I had to remind myself these battles don't happen in a vacuum, and barely eking out a win here may mean being disastrously defeated in the next engagement.
I am Brigadier Piana. My takeaway was the need for a well-understood plan that is easy to execute will produce clear victories. We put aside all crazy movements for a united thrust through Mechili. We hit the British with coordinated fire and never let go of the momentum we had gained.
Thanks to the players for a terrific game and providing the opportunity for good insights. And thank you, Kriegsspielers, for watching this after-action review. Keep learning from the experience of others, and we'll see you out there on the Kriegsspiel board.